Hello everyone and welcome back to the dojo. Um, Today we will be looking at Quarto, which is another way in which actually I can just read it from here. It's an open source scientific and technical publishing system similar to R Markdown, so we'll be taking a look at it. Now, I believe that Quarto is already installed when you installed RStudio. The latest one, I think it comes. Maybe something is installed with it. In case you don't have it, I think we can check here if that is there. Let's see. Didn't even check that. Well, actually, it uses the neat R, so I don't think you need to install anything. Well, it's something over here, Quarto. Yeah, but I don't have anything like it. But I don't think you need to. In case you do, leave me a message. But as far as I know, once you go into our script, you can create a new Quarto document and it'll be fine. So we'll be covering Quarto, and basically we'll be taking some of the content we did during our R Markdown report and adapting it to see how easy it is to transition from one to the other. Of course, there's some things that might be a little bit specific, so we'll be covering that too. This tutorial shouldn't take that long. So with that said, let's get to it. Let's start. Okay, so I've already opened here my first report, which was created with R Markdown. And what we are going to be doing is we'll create a new Quarto document. So we'll click here, Quarto document. Remember, you should have the latest RStudio. I think if you have a very old version, you may not see this. But yeah, click Quarto document, and then here in title, we will call it my first Quarto document. Let's call it like that, my first Quarto document. Yeah, we'll select HTML. Engine will use neat R. Here, I don't like using the visual markdown editor, so I will be unchecking that. Then I'll click create. And that should have us, well, the title is my first Quarto document, but we still haven't saved this. So maybe we want to save this. And here we'll go into, yeah, my first Quarto doc. Let's call it like this. Save this. There it is. And here actually we'll be doing a lot of copy pasting from our previous R Markdown document. Okay. So first thing we'll do is we'll copy this. And then actually let's just copy the whole thing. And just replace the whole thing here. Okay, now with that done, I don't think this will, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Let's see if it works. Actually, it does work. So you could say that we can finish the tutorial here, but we will be doing some additional things, because when you do that like this, Quarto may have some, yeah, you see things are generated here, and we need to adapt a little thing just to make it so that it's more Quarto-like. But to start with, you can see that it's highly compatible. I basically copied and pasted the whole thing, and it just ran. So that's good to know. So that means that you can very easily transition from having your R Markdown reports into Quarto by just basically copying and pasting the code into a QMD document. Now, you should always adjust things here and there, and we will be going through some of those things that we might want to change. Okay, so let's start here with our YAML header. right? So we'll be changing here some of the things. So we'll keep title, author, and date, but instead of output, which obviously worked, um, we will be changing this to format. So we will call this format. Then we will be doing HTML as a format. Press enter again, and then self-contained true. And we will delete the output. We'll keep here the parameters in here. By the way, I think you will notice that as opposed to our markdown, you don't have anything here that allows you to, let's say, render with parameters. So that's something that our markdown, I think, does a little bit better than Quarto. At least with the integration, you can actually do that here. You would have to manually change it here, which is a little bit more of a hassle, you could say. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, so we'll have this as self-contained. There's two things, true and false. So you noticed earlier, and actually I should be making this, I always forget, full screen. Let's say this. It seems like something is wrong here. I think it's self-contained like this. Okay. Okay, let's look. So back when we just run the thing, and if we say, let's say, self-contained yield false, let's just render this. Okay, so we are having an issue here with most likely HTML. Sorry, HTML. Let's see. Oh, why? Why? Why does this happen, huh? This type error cannot read properties of null, reading bibliography. That's new. Let me look into that, guys. It's always like this, huh? Format HTML. I think it's very picky with some of the, yeah, it's very picky with some of the spaces. So make sure that you're careful with that. So look, let's see. Yeah, see, it's just very picky. So make sure that you indent that, save it, and then it'll render. So make sure that those indents are very well placed. Otherwise, you'll have the issue we had. And you know, it's good thing that it happened, because these are things that happened in real life when you're trying to sort out things, and you know, it can get quite messy if you're doing it, and you might be confused. You know, thankfully you have me, so I can tell you some of these mistakes. Okay, so self-contained here. Let's say this is false. Okay. So when it's set as false, you will notice that we have here my first Quarto doc files and my first Quarto doc HTML. Now if I open this with Safari, we'll see that it has all the graphs and everything, but this means that we need to, if I were to delete this folder, or if I were to move this file somewhere else, it wouldn't work anymore. So let's see, let's delete that one, and let's open the document. Actually, first Quarto, this one. And it's missing the plot. See, it's not there. So you honestly do not want to have that setting as self-contained false. You want to set this to true so that it just, all the information is just contained without having to have this folder here. We don't need that, right? So let's make this true, and we'll see how that just basically disappears the next time we render. And now it's gone, right? So that's something you may want to remember. And now everything is self-contained in here. Okay, great. Now let's close this. There's a few other things that we need to change to make it more, let's say, Quarto-like. So we will start doing that through each of the sections. So previously you would have the chunks here and a bunch of options, and you can kind of keep it like that. But if you want to go by what Quarto documentation says, we would need to have something like this. Just remove all of those, and then we would need to add, we will need to add hashtag and the or operator, and then do it here, equal false, and then we'll add another one here with include false, because we don't want this code included. And that would basically settle the whole thing related to this chunk. Now moving down the other chunks, we do the same thing. Here in empty cars, where it says equal false, we don't need to actually give this chunk a name, so we can delete that. And then we type again hashtag or equal false. That should take care of this chunk. And then we go to the final chunk, which has the for loop and everything else. And here I'll tell you how you can do results as is in with the Quarto, let's say, syntax. So hashtag or equal false, hashtag or message false. We also, well, let me type this false. Then warning, also false. And then finally we'll do results. As is. Let's save this. And now that should basically make our document fully transition, let's say, from R Markdown to Quarto. Now let me render this again. I already saved it. Let me render it. And let's go back and open that. Here it is. And here it is again. Everything is exactly as before, right? The style has changed a bit from, if you remember, when we used our Markdown. You can see that the style is slightly different. Of course, both of them have different styles, but basically it's the same information. Well, there's some differences there in the space required and the font size and things like this, but in general it's pretty much the same. Okay, let us close this. And like I said, the other difference is that you cannot knit with parameters here before. If we go to the R Markdown document, you remember that you could do here knit with parameters, and then you could do stuff there. With Quarto, I haven't found a way to do that, let's say, other than just modifying things here. So if I modify this to, let's say, 20, save it, click render, it should have basically the exact same effect that we had before. So let's go and look at it. Safari. And there you go. You have very, very few data points because, 20 mpg, right? Mm, 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 mm. Let's move this again to 10. Re-render it. And then if we go back and open it again, you will see that it just contains well, basically contains much more, right? 32 cars instead of just the few cars that we had before. So it's basically how you do it here in Quarto. If you have a parametric report, you would be changing that directly in the YAML header. You wouldn't be doing it through this other menu that I just showed you when it was R Markdown. Now, with that said, I think we're basically done for today, right? I said it would be a very, very short, let's say, tutorial, right? I think it's probably a record at how fast we were able to complete it. Basically, it was because we lifted all the code from our previous R Markdown report. So yeah, if you want to know more information about Quarto, make sure to visit the website for Quarto, right? And you can there find lots of information on how to do things with R, and you'll see that it has basically this convention that we introduced today on how to do things, the format, HTML, all these other kind of interesting things. So I do recommend you give it a try. If you're too invested into the, let's say, ecosystem of our Markdown already and you have lots of report for that, remember that you can just easily migrate like I did. In most cases, you can just copy and paste that into QMD and it will work just exactly the same, right? Whether you want to do that or not, well, that's honestly up to you. Whatever you feel is the best for you. Okay, and I think with that, we've basically come to the end of our tutorial today. I hope you have enjoyed today's lessons. Remember, sorry for that. If you enjoy the work that I do, if you enjoy learning from me, please remember to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Also, remember to comment. The more you like, subscribe, and comment, the more the YouTube algorithm will probably, hopefully, shine its light on my channel and hopefully make sure that these trainings are available to more people, right? It's very hard to get YouTube to highlight you when you're such a small channel like mine. So definitely like, subscribe, comment, and help me help more people. With that said, thank you for joining, and class dismissed. I'll see you next time. What will we cover next time? I don't know. I guess you'll have to stay tuned to see what we cover next. So that's it. Class dismissed.